Okay. Um, well, hello, everyone. Sorry about the wild technology. My name is Allison Coons, and I'm with LMH Health, and I'm going to welcome you to our first grades anatomies of the new session. So welcome, welcome. We will iron out some of these kinks and hopefully be seamless next time. So I did want to share with you a couple of upcoming programs we have at LMH Health. So you can catch us once a month at the Lawrence Farmers Market. So we'll have a table there if you have any questions. You can stop by that booth and kind of check in, let us know what's going on, how we can be helpful. We also have upcoming two different community conversations. We have our first one that's going to be on October 1st, and that's going to be from 4 to 5:30 at the library. And that is just going to be on kind of an open community conversation. Russ Johnson, our CEO, will be there, and other members of our leadership team, just to kind of talk about the hospital as a whole, our strategic clinical partnership, funding sources for the health system, and workforce and patient technology. So we're really looking forward to that community conversation on October 1st. And then on October 3rd at LMH Health in the auditorium, which is on our lower level, is going to be another community conversation. And that one is going to be a little more specific about Medicare and Medicare Advantage programs. So you can come with a variety of questions. There's going to be a fabulous panel that's going to be there. So a lot of different experts that you can ask questions to when it comes to Medicare and Medicare Advantage. And then the thing I wanted to share with you is kind of a fun partnership that we're doing with Lawrence Parks and Recreation, Livewell Douglas County, and the city to do Walk the Loop. So if you've ever kind of wondered about the Lawrence Loop and really, how do I get on there? How do I walk? How far does it go? We are going to walk different portions of the loop together. You can do halfway, which is about 1.5 miles, or you can go the full 3 miles. And again, different points. Those are going to be on October 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 24th. All that information is on our website, so you don't have to remember that. You can just go to lmh.org and look up Walk the Loop. So those are just some fun things we have coming up that I wanted to share with you. And now I am going to go ahead and turn it over to a phenomenal community partner that we have, Megan Poindexter. She's with the Senior Resource Center. So Megan, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Logan, if you are still here, I don't think that oh yeah, you are. Sharing, I need to get multiple presenter again. While Logan does that, so as I mentioned earlier, my name is Megan Poindexter. I'm the director at the Senior Resource Center. I've been here for a little over 5 years now. And prior to that, I was the director at Trinity In-Home Care. I know at least one person on this remembers those days. She was on my board of directors. And so I am really happy to be here today to talk with you a little bit about the Senior Resource Center, what we've got going on, and give you some context also for the role that the Senior Resource Center plays in our Douglas County community. So here we go. All right. So one of the things that happens here at the Senior Resource Center is that people want to know, what is a senior? And this is my least favorite question because there's no good answer, and it feels like whatever you say is just, it's never sufficient. We have chosen to use the term Senior Resource Center. There's lots of great words that we can use to describe older adults. But part of the difficulty is that there is just no set age for when a person might be considered a senior. Either they consider themselves or the external world considers them a senior. On the screen, you can see I've got a couple of the various entities in our society that have something to say about that. And you'll notice that on some of these, they're government type programs. And so it's my opinion, based off of no facts whatsoever, but my opinion that a lot of these entities choose an age to start providing the services to that group of individuals based on budgets. And really what they're trying to do is set an age range so that they can identify how many people in the population fall into that category at any given time, because they are doing things like funding Medicare, funding adult protective services, that sort of a thing. So that's kind of been my interpretation of that. Here at the Senior Resource Center, I like to joke that we are not the sandbar. We do not card at the door. And so if you think that something that is happening at the Senior Resource Center sounds interesting to you, then you just come on in and we'll be happy to have you. There are a few things that we do provide here which are aligned with some of the programs that you see on the screen, in which case it's not our choice as far as, for instance, when a person starts Medicare. But those are some things that when we do have some sort of an age assigned to certain activities here, that's how that age is determined. So what are some of the things that we do here at the Senior Resource Center? We have a very wide mission. And really our mission, I like to just sum it up like this. Our goal is to help Douglas County older adults live their best possible quality of life. And that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, depending on where they are, what's their priority. And so here's just a summary of some of the activities. Obviously, we do education. Today, as an example, last night we had another program at the Lawrence Public Library where we talked to the adult children of some of our community seniors to help those adult children do a good job or do their best possible job, being supportive of their parents as their parents are getting older. We work with Osher. We work with a lot of different organizations who come and do educational activities here. And then beyond that, the activities that we have that are recreational, social, there's art and music. There's a broad spectrum of things that you can come to the Senior Resource Center to do that are just for fun. We've got some like Tai Chi and yoga. We have painting and art class activities. We've got quilters that meet here weekly. We have music here. Right now, it's really fun. The KU, it's one of the KU programs, music programs, and they come and do a choir once a week with folks. And it's good for the students because they're learning how to lead a choir and do music therapy. And it's great for the folks who come here because singing is fun and it's good for us. And so there's just a lot of social opportunities that can be found here at the Senior Resource Center. So one of our goals is that while folks are here having fun or getting some education, maybe there's something happening in their life and they're just not sure what to do next. And so we call that navigating through just those changes that we all go through in life as our circumstances change. And sometimes those things are intense and stressful, and sometimes they're fun and interesting, and they want to make sure that they're doing everything in the best way they can. And so we are here to help kind of guide through and use the experience and expertise that the staff here have gained to assist them along the way. Hopefully you've seen our Senior Wheels vans around town. One of them has fancy new paint job. The Van Gogh students were able to get a grant to do a wrap on one of our vehicles, and it's just fantastic and it's gorgeous. And we would love to do that with some more of our vehicles if and when the opportunity arises. When our Senior Wheels program is not the right fit for someone, we also work with a lot of our community partners who also provide transportation. And that allows us to give folks some other options if they need them for that transportation. Hopefully you're aware that we have Medicare counseling here. That's one of the biggest programs that we offer every year. Open enrollment is right around the corner. And we are going to start scheduling appointments on October 1st for open enrollment. But it's not just open enrollment. We do counseling with new enrollees as they're getting started with Medicare. We have a Welcome to Medicare seminar once a month to give folks the information that they need in order to get started. And then we also meet with folks on a regular basis when there is just something wonky, just something gets a little sideways with their Medicare. And we can sit down with them and look into what it is. I've got some folks here that are experts. They know more about Medicare than probably the people at the Medicare office do. And because they've been answering these questions for so long, they also have some kind of back channels to find out information for someone when something does get a little bit weird and they need to get it corrected, basically. We also provide some crisis support, and this is important for when things aren't going well for some of the individuals in our community. This is not just navigation, like I mentioned earlier, to help just kind of work through those life changes. Sometimes folks are in a true crisis. It's a health crisis. It's a housing crisis. Something has gotten away from them very, very suddenly. And sometimes there is some safety issues that are at play. And so we have the expertise to assist when things like adult protective services need to become involved. We also are thrilled to provide some direct assistance to individuals, and that is often seen in the form of some emergency assistance dollars that can be used for rent or utilities. The goal is really to keep people in their home and keep them safe and comfortable. We do work with a lot of organizations around the community for more safety issues, home safety referrals, and that can look like some of those modifications a person might need in order to stay safe and happy in the home that they're in. Sometimes there's bigger issues than that at play for an individual, and our goal is to help them find the resource that they need. We've made a lot of great connections throughout the community of organizations, businesses that are trustworthy, and we can offer some assurance that whatever work they might need some assistance with is done by somebody who's ethical and trustworthy. We're the coordinators for the Safe Winter Walkways here in Lawrence, and that is something we always need volunteers for Safe Winter Walkways. And those are volunteers who are matched with an individual who has a sidewalk in front of their house, and it has to get snow shoveled within the 48 hours that our city ordinance requires. And so we are always looking for volunteers for that. And then if a person falls into the category as the individual who is unable to shovel their own sidewalk, we're here to help connect them with a volunteer. Our Silver Bells holiday gift is also coming up. We have a lot of folks who will, we basically match them with a low-income individual who is pretty isolated, typically doesn't have family to make their holiday bright. And so we work with them to put together basically kind of a gift basket, if you will, for that individual, and make sure that they also have a happy holiday season. And then lastly, we're just a place where people call when they don't know what else to do, don't know where else to turn. And this is individuals themselves. This is community partners who are working with an older individual. This is, like I mentioned a minute ago, adult children, particularly ones who are out of state and maybe aren't able to actually be there with their parents. It's a wide variety, and so it's kind of fun for us because we just never know what the day is going to bring. We never know what the phone call is going to be, and it gives us a chance to be really creative and to work with our community partners closely to solve people's challenges with them. So it's one of our favorite things we do. So this is a matrix that I came up with a while ago to try and help communicate some of the things that the Senior Resource Center does to give people a continued understanding. So hopefully the resolution on this is a little strange, but hopefully it's legible for you. We've got 4 quadrants, if you will. At the top, you'll see I've got with resources. And so when we talk about resources, we're talking about money, we're talking about strong social supports, relationships, family, neighbors, all the health insurance that they might need, transportation that's working well for them. They've got the things that they need in their life. On the bottom half of it, though, we've got folks who are without resources. And sometimes people aren't sure what that means, but what resources might really mean. So that is, of course, a fixed low income. That kind of makes sense. But it's also being isolated and having no social supports or limited social supports. Sometimes we call those natural supports because those are the people who are naturally in our lives. Folks that have just the very basics of their Medicare health insurance. They don't have access to transportation. They're really kind of stuck where they are without being able to get out and about. On the left, you see I've got healthy aging. This is a term, if you've ever worked with Gail Sigurdson through Parks and Rec, Gail brought this concept to me a few years ago. And when she started working for Parks and Rec, and she said, you know, I've become so aware that as we get older, some people are kind of healthy aging and some people are kind of unhealthy aging. And she and I dug further into that to try and understand better what that really means for an individual. And so if someone is able to be active, they've got good nutrition, they may have a chronic illness, but it is well managed. It is not ruling their life. Their cognitive capacity is strong. They're just generally healthy. And unhealthy aging can look like a lot of things, but what we see the most often include things like heart disease, diabetes, COPD, someone who's just, they may not have an illness necessarily, but they're frail. And so we're worried about their safety because of that frailty. They have a chronic illness that is not well managed. They're just really struggling with their physical body, and sometimes they're struggling with their cognitive ability as well. So if you look at this, and thinking back to what I was mentioning a moment ago about the services that the Senior Resource Center provides, if we've got somebody who is with resources and is healthy aging, that's something that we want to preserve. That's the status that we want to preserve. And I'm going to talk about this more in a minute. If it's someone with resources, but they're unhealthy aging, if they have healthy, if they're healthy but without resources, those are both folks that they need the Senior Resource Center's support services, but they're probably going to be okay. You know, the healthy aging folks have the greatest wealth is health saying behind them. And even if you are unhealthy aging, but you have resources, you're probably going to be okay because you've got the financial means to, frankly, hire the assistance that you might need. But then we've got our folks that are unhealthy aging without resources. And those are the individuals that we really worry about. Those are the folks that kind of keep us up at night and that allow the Senior Resource Center to truly employ some of our best social service skills. So let's dig in with that just a little bit more. So if you are healthy aging with resources, so first of all, yay, like that's the goal. That's what we all, when we imagine our retirements, that's what we all hope for. That's what we want. So then the question is, how can we maintain it? We want to do everything in our power, like I said earlier, to live our best possible quality of life. And that's where a lot of that recreation, education, socialization comes into play. We know now so much better than we did 4 years ago, what isolation can do to a person's health, their physical health, and their mental health. And so having that engagement opportunities at the Senior Resource Center is really, really important to us. And it's my belief that people are more in tune with that than they used to be. There's also opportunities for volunteering through the Senior Resource Center. And we know that people want to connect with others and they want to give back to their community, and that's a great chance to do that. And then, you know, as I mentioned here, we've got the Lawrence Memorial Hospital. So one of our great partnerships with LMH. And so we're always looking at ways that we can help to let people know about those best health practices and how to prevent future challenges with their health. So then if your health changes, or what if the health of your partner or your spouse changes? That is something that I think can surprise some of us and can tip us into that unhealthy aging category, or it tips our spouse or our partner into that unhealthy aging category. And then it kind of affects both individuals in the home. So if that person does have resources, then sometimes the Senior Resource Center's big goal is to talk through what's going on, what has changed, and then how can we help? How can we help them identify what's going on? Is the thing that you're calling us about really the primary concern, or is there something deeper that is worrying you or challenging you or stressing you? Is that a temporary or a chronic change in your health? Is it something that you are going to need some long-term plans for, or do you just need something quick and immediate to help you through this moment? So that can include things like transportation on our senior wheels, our Medicare counseling, the activities that we have here in the building. And then what else is out there? We have such an involved community. I mean, here we are on the libraries, retroactive event for the day, along with Grey's Anatomy, with the hospital. Like, we live in this amazing community with so many opportunities to do things. Sometimes it could feel a little overwhelming, but there is a lot of help out there. It's hard to figure out how to access it sometimes. And so that's a place where we can help. And that's what some of those referrals that we love to give to our community partners. So we'll talk about that more again here in a minute. So what if you're healthy aging, but you're without resources? So again, this is an opportunity that you're probably going to be okay, but it might be challenging. You're going to maybe need a little assistance figuring out what to do. And this is a place where the Senior Resource Center is so proud to have the support of our community that we are able to offer our services for free or very, very affordable. For instance, the transportation that we provide is very specific. Transportation in a wheelchair accessible vehicle is specialized and it is very expensive to provide. But because of the support of our community, we're able to provide it very, very low cost. Everything else pretty much that we do here is free to anybody that wants to come in. We also work with Kansas Legal Services. We have a legal clinic that we host here once a month, and then we work with Kansas Legal Services to connect with other individuals who can't make it to those appointments. And sometimes that's a really big and important thing for somebody who doesn't have resources and has some serious issues going on in their life. So then we also have some great referrals to community partners that are helping folks who are struggling financially and need some additional support. We work with SNAP, with the 4-H Extension Office, to do their SNAP program. And we have a clinic here where the SNAP, the master food folks who are trained on how to sign people up for SNAP come here and help people here. We work closely with the AARP Tax Aid program. Some of you might remember that this program used to occur in our building here downtown, and they kind of outgrew us. It's a really big and impressive thing that happens every year during tax season, and so we highly recommend that tax aid program. I mentioned earlier that we assist with emergency rent and utility assistance, and that is a partnership throughout the entirety of Douglas County that many people are not super aware of, but there is a network of social service agencies throughout the community that are banding together to try and help as many people as we possibly can make sure that they have their rent paid, that they've got their utilities on, also because those two things can be cause for an eviction, and our goal is to prevent homelessness. And so we are working hard to try and make sure that folks don't lose their housing for something as silly as an unpaid water bill. So then what I mentioned earlier, the folks that make us worry. So we've got folks that are unhealthy aging and without resources. So sometimes people aren't really sure what low income means. It's kind of a vague term. What I see myself on a regular basis is people who are living on less than $1,000 per month. And that's because that's the maximum of what they're getting out of their Social Security. And so it is, that's really tough. That's really difficult to do in this market that we're in. Some of them have, they just have limited or no assets that are of market value. So maybe they've got some stuff, but they couldn't, for instance, sell it to have a little bit of income. They have limited or they're without natural supports. I mentioned earlier, natural supports is a term that really means just people in your life. And we all know that when you've got people in your life, sometimes they can help you out when you're struggling. But if you don't have that, you don't have anyone to turn to. Folks who have limited physical ability, you think about our community here in Lawrence and some of the houses that we have, some of our older homes that we have. They're gorgeous older homes. Often these are homes that a person might have paid in full. And so, in theory, this is going to be a great home for them to live the rest of their life in. But potentially they end up needing to use a wheelchair and their home is not accessible. All these houses down here around the Senior Resource Center with lots and lots and lots of stairs and very narrow doorways. And what are you going to do about that? That's really a tough situation. And then the one that I'd like to mention to folks, just to really, really get everybody's empathy up and running, is that we've got folks who experience incontinence and they don't have any money that is available to them for the briefs that they might need. And that causes them to stay home. It causes isolation. They may be able to budget out their brief use. And so they're really concerned that they might end up in a situation where they've run out, and then that's embarrassing. And so they're going to stay home. We have folks that are often very hidden from sight when they fall into this category. If they do live in the home that they've always lived in, there's times when people just are not even aware what's going on inside that house. I've had the opportunity to speak with some of the Lawrence Neighborhood Association folks, and one of the things that I will comment to them about is if you're looking around your neighborhood and there's someone in your neighborhood who they were so proud, they loved their lawn and they were really, really great at keeping their lawn up, they are not doing that anymore. Their lawn has started to get away from them. Maybe you notice that the newspaper is not getting picked up. You notice that they're never outside anymore. If that is something that you were to observe in your neighbor and you're not really sure what to do, that's a time that you could call the Senior Resource Center and we would help to figure out how to check on that person. And then if there is something not going well, see if we can help them figure out what to do to make things better. And then there's, of course, folks that just have limited functional skills. And sometimes, again, that's sometimes really hard to describe. There's the obvious things that are like a diagnosis, like dementia, Alzheimer's, or brain injury. We know more what that looks like. It's a little more obvious. There's, of course, we always talk about behavioral health and mental health, and when someone is struggling to take care of themselves, take care of their environment because of that kind of cognitive or behavioral illness, that can limit somebody's ability to take good care of themselves. But then we've got a lot of folks who are just without a lot of life experience. And maybe that plays out in their confidence to ask for help. Maybe it comes out in their comfort with trying all of these digital things that are out there. It's really frustrating for so many people that in order to get some of the services that we need for those who are really vulnerable in our community, it can only be done online. And that's kind of unfair to me, that we're putting that expectation on individuals who are in that circumstance. So these are all circumstances that the Senior Resource Center receives calls about on a regular basis to try and help individuals find a good solution. Just a little bit more about low income. For those who aren't very familiar with Medicaid, it's a program it really doesn't have the capacity to help everybody who needs it. Folks are restricted on what their assets and their monthly cash flow are, the amount of money that they receive each month. And if they're over those amounts, they don't qualify for Medicaid. And so when we hear people talk about Medicaid expansion here in the state of Kansas, that's really what we're seeing a lot of, is individuals who are falling into a gap. They don't have enough financial resources to be able to pay for the things outright that they need in the fair market, and they are not low enough income to qualify for Medicaid. And by expanding Medicaid to encompass more individuals, to raise the amount of money a person is able to bring in each month, to raise what they're able to save up each year, through their life, it allows them to be able to take better care of themselves. The thing that I always share with folks to give them an idea about what I mean by assets is a person is given about $3,000 that they're allowed to have in cash assets to qualify for Medicaid. So if you own your home and you're only allowed to save up that amount of money, then what are you going to do when your hot water heater goes out and you need $5,000? So this puts people in real bind. There's also a tendency for a lot of the seniors that we work with who are low income to be what they call house rich and cash poor. They've got a great home, but they don't have the monthly income to take care of the home, or to hire someone to come in and help take care of the home, or for them to be able to afford some of the needs that they have. But they don't want to move because it's really expensive to move. And where do you go? And what if you don't want to move? And this is the house of your life. So it's a real pickle for a lot of folks. We talk with a lot of folks who are really concerned about spending what money they do have because they don't know how long they're going to live. And they feel like the market fluctuates a lot. So maybe they've got money that is, they're trying to invest it, and they're trying to invest it wisely. But we just don't know what that's going to look like. And when you don't know how long you're going to live and how much that how long that money is going to last you, that can be really scary. And then we've got a lot of government programs that are designed to help people, but they tie a lot of strings to those programs. And only just certain circumstances are eligible. And so that leaves a lot of people out. And so those are all circumstances that the Senior Resource Center encounters on a regular basis. Sometimes we don't have a very good, clear answer for those individuals or for their families, but we do our best to help them figure out the next best step for them. We have some great partners, and I always like to just shout out to all of our partners that we work with throughout the community. And if you have not been down to our building, we love it here. So many of you may know that this building was renovated a few years ago. And prior to that, it was kind of a institutional feeling, sad building that used to be the police station, and it still felt a little bit like it was a little bit of that kind of a vibe. And when they renovated it, we've got it's so much warmer, it's welcoming, the lighting makes a big difference, and so we love having people come here. And so if you have not been down here yet, we'd love to have you come by and visit, maybe participate in one of our fun activities, and or come to the Medicare's open enrollment here that's starting pretty soon, and check it all out. So that's my spiel for you, but I am very happy to answer any questions that folks have.
Megan, I do have a couple of questions here. So, if someone is looking for some of those resources, or they just aren't really even sure where to start, should they just reach out to you and find out kind of what's available, what they can do? Who's their first point of contact if they were to reach out?
That's a great question. I forgot that I had this screen that I could put up for y'all for the last one. Our phone number and our website, my email address, but then we also have, just by calling our regulars, our direct line, our 842-0543 phone, that takes you to our wonderful front desk crew and mentioning to them kind of the area that you need some information on. We've got staff that have divided and conquered a little bit on some topics, and so they can help to make sure that you get to the right person. I am always happy to be that first point of contact. I might send you over to one of the staff here who is an expert in the area that you're asking about. But we are always, it's very much a team group here, and we will work together to help make sure that you have the information that you're looking for and that you need.
I have a question.
Yes.
My question is, do you have people that will help with sort of like handyman kind of activities, i.e. changing light bulbs, changing a filter in a furnace? Do you provide that kind of service? And then second question is Meals on Wheels a whole separate entity than you guys?
Yeah, let's do the second question first because it's easy.
Okay.
Yes, Meals on Wheels is a totally separate entity, and there's two Meals on Wheels programs in Douglas County. One of them is Meals on Wheels of Lawrence, and the other is the Meals on Wheels of Northeast Kansas, and that is provided by Midland Care. And they serve similar but different functions. So depending on what exactly it is that you're looking for, it might be wise to check in with both of them and let them know what you're looking for. If there's dietary restrictions, sometimes one of the challenges is location. Meals on Wheels of Lawrence serves only Lawrence. And the Douglas or the Northeast Kansas program serves throughout the county. And so that can sometimes be the deciding factor. But there's a variety of reasons why you might fit better with one than the other. But yes. So as far as handyman goes, that's a really good question, and it's a really tough one. The demand for that kind of assistance is very, very high. And people that I know who are trying to find that kind of assistance, it's just tough. And so we do have a couple of resources that we encourage folks to consider. We work with tenants to homeowners on a program that we call Helping Hammer, but it is in very high demand. And so the wait for that assistance is often pretty long. And they then sometimes will reserve that for more construction-y type of handyman stuff as opposed to changing light bulbs type of stuff. I know Community Village Lawrence is a wonderful organization, and they've got some volunteers who are able to help with some small things around the house like that on a regular basis. I am honestly a big advocate for people talking to their friends and neighbors and their faith community about this type of stuff. These are often needs that are urgent and quick and easy to do if you can just get, like you said, if you're just not able to get that arm up over your head and climb on that ladder anymore, it's just hard to get that light bulb changed. Having the confidence to let folks know when you need some help, I think is a really important thing. And it's going to become more important in the coming years as our baby boomer population grows and some of those resources become tighter. There are some other opportunities for things that are more construction related, but I will just tell you that if it is anything pretty major, that is very hard to find right now. And so I highly encourage folks not to wait. If that's something that they're going to need help with, don't wait until the fence completely falls down if you need help getting a fence fixed. You may be able to find someone who's got some real affordable programs for things like that, but you might need to wait quite a while. Right now, Habitat for Humanity's Aging in Place program is on pause, for instance. And so hopefully they'll be able to get that up and running again soon. They're trying to hire some folks. That's a lot of the delay for our Helping Hammer program also, is that they need to hire some folks. And it's a really difficult market to hire people. And so that's a lot of where the holdup is. One little trick that I will tell you, if you're dealing with a smoke detector, call the fire department. And they can do wonderful things. All right, Allison, I think I've told them all the stuff they need to know.
I think so. Okay. Well, again, if
Thank you all
anyone
so much.
has
Yeah.
questions, Megan's info was up there.